More sports coverage than anyone else in the Midlands. Sponsored by Lexington Medical Center.
Welcome into Sports Zone, everyone. I'm Claire Foley. I'm hanging out here this week as our WACH FOX sports team is up in Cleveland, continuing the best sports coverage in the Midlands for the women's basketball Final Four. Tip-off for the Gamecocks against the number 3 NC State Wolfpack is at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Both teams practicing today. Let's send it over to our sports director, Matt Dowell, who joins us live. Dowell, what were some of your takeaways from today's practices?
Well, all I know, Claire, is that it has been a long day, and all these teams are ready to just get out on the hardwood and play. We were up at 6:30 this morning for a 9 p.m. practice for South Carolina. The Gamecocks were the first team up on the practice courts today over at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, home of the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Gamecocks up bright and early for a 2-hour practice this morning ahead of tomorrow's Final Four. And for the Gamecocks, they're in the home of where LeBron James has created such a huge legacy, but they're looking to make more of their legacy here in Cleveland this weekend. The Gamecocks are undefeated, of course, going for their 3rd national title in program history, but they're taking on 3-seed NC State, who's already caused some problems for top teams this weekend. And while no one's really talking about the Wolfpack this weekend, despite being such a great team, the Gamecocks know that the opponent they're playing tomorrow is the real deal. The Gamecocks are gearing up for a showdown with the Wolfpack. It's number 1 South Carolina versus 3-seed NC State, who's already spoiled the season for top teams Stanford and Texas. And while so many people have already penciled in South Carolina for Sunday's championship, Don Staley says not so fast.
It's a really good basketball team that's coached well, and we're definitely going to have our hands full, and we're going to be challenged tomorrow night.
This weekend will be the last in a Gamecock jersey for star Camila Cardoso, who announced earlier this week that she will enter the WNBA draft.
Literally on Monday. I made my decision on Monday morning. I took a long time to think about it. It was a really hard decision for me to make because I got really close to this team. I love every single one of these girls. So just thinking about this would be like my last time playing with them is hard. Like, it hurt my heart, but I know they're going to support me no matter what, and I'm just ready to take the next step.
And while it's the end of a chapter for Cardoso, it's the beginning for the freshmen, who are stepping onto the Final Four stage for the very first time.
I'm excited, I dream about things like this, so just to finally be here, it just means a lot to me, and with my teammates, and I love them, so just being with people that you love is just always a good time, and when you're doing things like this, it's always a great time.
Like, the fact that I'm living in a dream that I once had, like, that's amazing to me. It's like everyone says, a dream come true, but I think the best part is just playing with who I'm playing with and who I'm surrounded with, and like, the moments that I have with them are special, and I would never take them for granted.
Still, though, the Gamecocks were in this same situation last year. 36-0, the huge favorites to win it all, just for the season to shockingly end in the Final Four. A crushing loss the Gamecocks aren't looking to experience 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that was a terrible feeling that I don't ever want to experience again. So I feel like we really locked in this year. We don't want to feel that again. So we're going to do whatever we need to do to win these games.
We all knew that this Gamecock team would be talented this season, but most did not think that they would be 36-0 once again coming into the Final Four. They've been on a revenge tour this season. That's what they've been saying all year long. And the one leading that charge is guard Raven Johnson, who suffered heartbreak here a year ago and is now looking for glory in Cleveland. Our Matt Vereen spoke one-on-one with Raven Johnson after today's practice ahead of the Final Four.
Here with Hollywood Raven herself, South Carolina sophomore guard Raven Johnson. Raven, you've talked about this redemption tour so many times now. This last year, when you look back on it, how physically and mentally exhausting but also rewarding now to get back here?
I'm very excited. I'm not going to get too excited because we were here last year, and I know I don't want to feel the feeling that happened last year, but I know that we hold ourselves to a high standard. We have expectations here, and we're here for one thing, is to win to get to the end goal. And I just think like this team, we have fun when we're supposed to have fun, but I think we had a great practice today, and I think that everyone, we're ready. Like we're ready to play. Everyone keeps saying we're just ready to play. We're tired of practicing. We're just ready to play. So they're ready to play.
Y'all have mentioned that balance between knowing when to work hard, knowing when to have fun. Does it feel different this time around in the Final Four with this group that's around you?
Well, last year we had all those vets on our team, so they were serious, like more than serious. They like, I call them grandmas. They like my grandmas, if that makes sense. But this team, we're so young. We're just taking one game at a time. Like this team just ready to play. Like they keep saying, I'm ready to play. I'm tired of practicing. Like I'm ready to play. So I think this team just ready to play, ready for the show to start.
So you don't feel like the grandma this time around with all these young kids running around?
Oh no. We have too much fun to act like grandmas.
How about NC State? Obviously, you know, another Carolina representative. Just what do you see in this matchup against the Wolfpack?
They have great guard play. I think they feed off each other really good. They can hit threes really good. And I like the team. I like how they play with each other. And I know Madison Hayes. Me and Camilla used to play AAU with her. She's an X factor for the team. She does the little things. She's a hustle player. She rebounds. Isaiah James. She's a really good player, and I think she hit big shots for them. And Sanaya Rivers, I mean, she came from here and just knowing what she developed a lot just coming from here to there. And I'm so excited for her just to see what she's doing at NC State.
Thanks a lot, Raven. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Always great to talk to Raven Johnson, one of the leaders of this team and a key piece to this Gamecock squad. Another key piece to South Carolina, especially this March, has been Columbia native Ashlin Watkins. The Cardinal Newman graduate was on the bench last year watching the Gamecocks suffer their loss to Iowa, but this year she's looking for the Gamecocks to take that next step, and she's looking to play a bigger role in that. I got to speak with Watkins one-on-one after today's practice to talk about her larger role this year with South Carolina and the community support back in Columbia. I am here with Ashlin Watkins ahead of tomorrow's Final Four. Ashlin, first of all, welcome to Cleveland. Just what has been the preparation like for you guys ahead of tomorrow's game?
Just practice and rest, really. That's what we've been focusing on.
Coach Staley's always emphasized rest. At this point in the season, what do you do to kind of take your mind off of everything and really relax ahead of a big weekend?
Well, we can't really leave the hotel, so it's not really much that we can do, but like do team stuff like practice or do like the gift stuff that we have to do for the Final Four. And then we go out to the hotel, we have film, and then nothing else for the rest of the day.
When you know it's the final weekend of the year, no matter what, you're either going to lose or you're going to win the whole thing. How motivated are you to just give this last weekend one final push?
I'm really motivated, especially it being our last couple of games. So I think because it's our last couple of games, that give us motivation to just like, all right, like we got to push through the end.
Last year, you got to observe this moment, and obviously it was a tough locker room after last year's loss. What did you learn from just kind of watching how everything works on the Final Four stage?
I've learned that it's a much bigger stage than like all the rest of the games, and that this is like where it matters most, to be honest. And that teams aren't gonna just like let us like just beat them, and they're gonna try to win. So we're just gonna have to compete.
You were a huge part of the win on Sunday in the Elite Eight. What's clicking so well for you right now?
I think my energy is there. Like I'm excited. I want it. So yeah.
What motivates you just day in and day out as an athlete?
My family. Yeah, just doing it for them, really.
And NC State, a tough one. I know they're kind of being touted as a Cinderella story, but they were a 3 seed. They've been in the top 5 for a lot of this year. They're a really good team. What challenges do they present for you guys tomorrow?
I think they do a lot of ISO. We just got to be ready to play just one-on-one defense.
And you got all of Columbia rooting for you. Just what's it like for you to have so much support from back home watching you here in Cleveland?
It means a lot, especially like me being from home. It just means a lot to have my family and friends watching.
Thank you, Ashlin.
Thank you.
Ashlin Watkins, such a huge talent and such a big part of South Carolina's undefeated season. Now, before all of this got started today, before the 9 a.m. practice, we got to have a meet and greet with some of the biggest names on ESPN. Our Matt Vereen got to speak with some of the nation's top analysts about the biggest storylines going into this Final Four weekend.
Here at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio, ESPN is set to broadcast what could be one of the most highly anticipated women's basketball Final Fours the tournament has ever seen. And in talking with the names and faces of the broadcast crew, after the numbers they saw for the tournament already, they are excited for what comes here.
The national championship last year, when it was like, wait, almost 10 million people watch this? That's incredible. And then, of course, this year, it was like when we got the numbers for LSU Iowa and that it peaked at 16 million, we're talking about college football numbers.
And the crew will be adding one notable addition for its Final Four coverage. South Carolina women's basketball legend and WNBA Rookie of the Year, Aaliyah Boston.
The best thing about Aaliyah is she's so herself. Like, you get to see who she is, and she's comfortable and she's confident, and she's been here.
She's got the experience and knowing how Dawn prepares her team. Like, she has always had a great mind for the game. I remember when she was a freshman at South Carolina, Dawn would say to me, she's going to ask some questions.
And speaking of South Carolina, in a tournament that has been star-focused, the Gamecocks have had a bit of a challenge of not really having just one standout star. In talking to the ESPN personalities, they say that they deserve all the attention they can get.
It's just hard because there's not one thing that stands out. There's like 50 little things that make them so good. And so choosing that and how to talk about it and who to include in that is harder, and it takes more time.
South Carolina just keeps winning, and I think that the idea that they're back here after losing all 5 starters, 70% of their offense, and they're still undefeated and they're back at the space, we try our best to make sure people understand that is absurd and unreal.
Elle Duncan in particular telling me that South Carolina is her pick to win the national championship here in Cleveland. Reporting from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, Matt Vereen, Watch Fox Sports.
A really fun morning here in Cleveland, meeting some of the biggest names on ESPN, and we thank them for taking the time to speak with us about the Gamecocks. Now, on the other side of this is NC State, a team that's back in the Final Four for just the second time ever, and they're looking to shock the world tomorrow by beating South Carolina. And on the NC State roster is a familiar face. Our Amanda Poole takes a look at the Wolfpack.
South Carolina will see a familiar face in the Final Four. NC State's Sanaya Rivers, the second leading scorer for the Wolfpack, a North Carolina native, but a South Carolina transfer. Rivers played for Dawn Staley in the 2021-22 season, culminating in a national championship.
I won't speak too much on why I transferred, but we're just because we're trying to focus on the game this weekend. But she's a great person, like you mentioned. We do still talk to this day. You know, she congratulates me on accomplishments, and I do the same thing. Or if it's her birthday, I wish her a happy birthday. She's just that type of person you want to have in your corner. Just for our future opportunities, even if she can't be your coach or if I can't be her player.
With one title under her belt, she hopes to make history against her former team, trying to take NC State to its first championship stage.
We've been the underdogs all season, you know, since the season started. Like she said, it gives us confidence, but I also feel like it gives us so much motivation, you know, just motivation that we have something to prove. We played all season with a chip on our shoulders, and it's the same thing now. You know, we're the underdogs, and like Coach said, we're the party crashers, and, you know, we're coming to crash the party.
Dawn Staley also adding that once you're part of the Gamecock family, you're always a part of it, but that might go out the window come tip-off time tomorrow night in the Final Four. Reporting from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, Amanda Poole, Watch Fox Sports.
A great story for NC State and for Sanaya Rivers, who really is thriving over with the Wolfpack. Well, Claire, we got a lot more coming up, but it's time for a break. That was a lot from here in Cleveland, but for now, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
Whew, guys, we're sweating for you, all the work you did today. Thank you so much, Dowell, Vereen, and Amanda, for some great coverage. We've reached our first time out here in the Watch Fox Sports Zone, but stay right there, because when we come back, she's done it again. Nope, not yesterday's Coach of the Year designation, a new one. Sports Director Matt Dowell has more on Dawn Staley's latest feather in her cap.
Sports Director Matt Dowell, Matt Vereen, and Amanda Poole. More sports coverage than anyone else in the Midlands. Sponsored by Lexington Medical Center.
Welcome back into the Sports Zone. Ladies and gentlemen, she's at it again, just as legends do. Head coach Dawn Staley being named the AP Coach of the Year. Let's head back to Sports Director Matt Dowell. Dowell, are we even surprised at this point? Another undefeated season after losing so many players from last year's team, but back in the Final Four.
Yeah, Claire, it's been absolutely amazing what Coach Staley has been able to do this season. Again, we knew this would be a talented roster, but to go 36-0 with a team that really had not played together before this year is something that many of us did not see coming. But after winning the Naismith Award yesterday for the 3rd consecutive year, the first coach to ever do that, and for the 4th time in 5 years, the award's racking up more today. Just after practice this afternoon in Cleveland, it was actually the team that surprised Coach Staley with the news, as Dawn Staley has been named the Associated Press Coach of the Year. She racked up a couple Coach of the Year awards today, as Dawn Staley really sweeping everything, as really there was no doubt about it that she was going to win. She was the favorite to win all of these awards after the season that the Gamecocks have had, replacing the entire starting 5. Caitlin Clark sweeping the Player of the Year awards today as well. So a big congrats to Coach Staley again for winning the AP Coach of the Year. Now back here in Cleveland, it's not just current Gamecocks that are here competing. Some former Gamecocks are also here in Cleveland competing with Team USA at training camp, and it's some of the biggest Gamecocks that we have ever watched. Our Amanda Poole went to Team USA training camp today to get their opinions ahead of tomorrow's Final Four.
Current and former Gamecocks are all over the land. The Final Four and Team USA's training camp putting Aaliyah Boston and Asia Wilson right next door to the current Gamecocks en route to a national championship.
Let's go Gamecocks all the time, all day, every day.
The two Carolina legends have been to a combined 5 Final Fours, each winning 1 national championship.
I remember coming straight from Stockton. We didn't even we just left straight from California. We went straight to Dallas just to lock in and be in tune with what's going on. And I just remember just being in the moment, owning the moment was so key for me and my teammates, because that was you just feel it. It has a certain feel to it, and you're like, no, this is going to be us. It's just so special to be one of the Final Four that's competing for a national championship. There's no better feeling, and I'm just so excited that they're able to do that, because my memories of the Final Four have just been spectacular, just because the teams that I've been on, the experience that I've been able to have, and just being able to win a national championship.
The Gamecocks are undefeated and 2 games away from a title, a position some people were surprised by, but not Boston.
I don't think anything shocks me when it comes to the Gamecocks, just because I know what playing under Coach Staley is all about.
Boston and Wilson sharing why this loose and loving squad is successful.
I think this is the most free but bought-in team Coach Staley has probably ever had. I think everyone is playing at their best always, and they're just playing them. They're not too into Coach Staley's schemes, but they're listening and they're disciplined in that, but they also know how to deviate and things like that, but still keep the game plan. A big part of that is they love each other so much. You see it on the court, off the court, and I think once they get on the court, they just know that it's time to compete, so I just love that.
Aaliyah Boston will continue to use her platform to help grow the game, as she'll serve as an analyst on ESPN's broadcast crew this weekend. At the Cleveland Cavaliers practice facility, Amanda Poole, Watch Fox Sports.
2 of the greatest Gamecocks that we have ever gotten to watch play, Asia Wilson and Aaliyah Boston, who know a thing or two about winning a national championship. Tip-off between South Carolina and NC State is at 7 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to have extensive coverage of that game after it is complete, as South Carolina looks to advance to the national championship. But for now, I'm going to toss it back to Claire, because Claire, there's another game tomorrow night, and it's also getting a lot of hype.
That's right, Dal. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we're going to look right at that game. Iowa Hawkeyes and UConn Huskies, 2 superstar names hitting the court in Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers. What they think separates them and why they say there's room in the spotlight for more.
Matt Dow, Matt Vereen, and Amanda Poole. More sports coverage than anyone else in the Midlands. Sponsored by Lexington Medical Center.
All right, we covered the Gamecocks and Wolfpack. Let's uncover the other matchup, Iowa and UConn. When you think of both teams, you probably have 2 names that immediately pop into your head, Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers. Both have made quite impressive resumes for themselves. Both have been named Naismith Player of the Year at one point. Caitlin Clark and her team practicing today. She was asked how her and Paige Beckers compare.
We're similar in a lot of ways, but we're also very different in a lot of ways. I think the the biggest thing is like Paige plays off the ball quite a bit, and I usually have the ball in my hands quite a bit. Not that she doesn't do that, but I would say that's probably the biggest, difference between the two of us. And her game is just so smooth. Like, she's fun to watch. She moves effortlessly out there. Like, it's just so natural. It comes easy to her. But that's always been her game as long as I've known her. Like, she's just very naturally gifted, and then she additionally works really hard at it, and that makes, a great recipe for success.
Paige Bueckers asked today how she might be in the limelight even more so now that Caitlin Clark is headed to the draft.
The media can do a better job of just making sure everybody gets love, everybody gets not equal amount of attention, but try to spread it out more. So I honestly hope next year I'm not the vocal point and the only person that gets attention, and I hope as media, as players, we can spread the love a little bit more.
All right, last time out here in the Sports Zone. When we come back, the Gamecocks check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Who knows, they might even have a new off-season project. Well, the Gamecocks didn't pass up on the opportunity to visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Our Watch Fox sports team asked them if they got any inspiration and maybe want to test out a new hobby. To see that video, head to our Watch Fox Twitter, and you can even go find at Matt Dowell TV. He posted it there. They posted all their coverage online today across all their social media platforms. Make sure you go check it out, and they'll be doing the same tomorrow.